A 12-member jury delivered the guilty manslaughter verdict this afternoon to conclude the 3-week trial before Madam Justice Paula Guilford at the St. George's No. 1 High Court. Andre Lavier, a 29-year-old fisherman of Bellevue, Petit Martinique, was initially charged with non-capital murder in connection with the November 2, 2019 death of 39-year-old Kenroy Brown. Brown was found in the early morning hours lying along the Bellevue Public Road following a physical altercation with his now convicted killer. According to the autopsy report, Brown, who resided in Petit Martinique up to the time of his death, died as a result of strangulation. Lavier was represented in court by attorney Anselm Clouden, who advanced the defense that the fatal physical altercation between the two men was accidental.
Plain and simple, it was an accident.
What was the injury?
The injury was the injury that caused death, according to the doctor's testimony, Dr. Coy. He said that there were marks around the neck, evidence that during the struggle, the deceased locks, the accused held on to it, and during the struggle tightened and must have pulled on it because at some time he's on top one on top the other. And there's evidence from the doctor that the impact of the skin on these, there was a lot of laceration and abrasions to the skin, evidence in a struggle, a fight. And he must have pulled the locks too tight, and if you stop blood from going to the brain, in 10 seconds he would have gone unconscious, and the doctor said in 2-3 minutes he's a dead man.
The attorney explains that the jury was not able to deliver a conclusive verdict on the non-capital murder charge, which carries a maximum penalty of life imprisonment.
We had contended that there was no intention to kill in the context of what transpired, and that as a consequence the Crown had failed to discharge the burden of proof, that is, proof beyond reasonable doubt, because of that element of intentionally causing the death. We raised the defense of accident and self-defense. Once the jury, I assume, had not unanimously found him guilty of intentional and unlawfully causing the death of Kenroy Brown, then they had the alternative verdict of manslaughter.
Clouden says his client's case is quite an unusual one for the sister isle of Petit Martinique, considering circumstances that gave rise to the fatal altercation.
There's no evidence that there was any animosity or any ill feeling, or, as a matter of fact, they couldn't find a motive. There was no motive, and that was cited to the court and to the jury. The prosecution couldn't find a motive, because every witness gave evidence that how peace-loving these two gentlemen were. Lived together, one is a fisherman and one is a handyman, the deceased. And he's quite a handyman in Petit Martinique. When he comes in, he went to school there, he lives there for some time. He has lived there for over 15 years, one of the witnesses, Dory, said.
Clouden says the court has ordered a social inquiry report, which is due sometime in March, ahead of sentencing, which has been scheduled for April 4th. For GBN News, I'm Nisha Paul.